Hey guys, I'm here to talk about Logan, which I saw last night. Um, it was one hell of a movie. I'll go ahead and say that it was a wild ride. It deserves all the praise that it's been getting because it's earned it. It really did. It was a great movie. Now, it did have problems, which every movie does. I'm not gonna say it like it was perfect, but it was really good despite those. Okay. Um, so just there will be some spoilers because I mean, how am I supposed to talk about this that much without spoilers? So I'll go ahead and talk about that. So just some setup. Basically, it throws most of the continuity of X-Men out the window. It could be working with the original trilogy, could be working with the First Class trilogy, it could be working with the Wolverine exclusive movies. There's really no way to tell. But basically, the world it's set in 2029, so it's a bit in the future, good decade or so. Wolverine's growing old, Professor X is going old, and most of the mutants are gone. Now, they do a bad job of explaining it, like they only kind of allude to it at times, kind of. But the way that it happened was, humans were humans, and of course they're going to try and get rid of the mutants like they've been doing for a good 10 movies now. And now it's actually working. Because it was hard to find, but there was a detail in there about them using corn, which corn syrup is used in a lot of products, so that makes sense. And they use that as like a thing to make a mutant sterile, I think it was, and or give it to humans so that they wouldn't become mutants or something. I don't remember how they explained it, but it's something to do with corn, and it just stopped mutants from being born. Okay. They also had hunts hunting down the remaining mutants. And, they're doing that. So mutants are being killed, very few are left. And then, because Professor X's mind power has been growing more powerful over time, and as he's been getting old, he's been getting dementia. And he has a seizure about a year before the movie that wipes out a bunch of people, a bunch of mutants, the rest of the X-Men. The only survivors were him and Wolverine. And because of that, Wolverine has been taking care of Professor X, giving him shots, giving him pills so that he doesn't have like a seizure and an outbreak again, so he doesn't like kill more people. So they've been keeping Professor X locked up. He's been kind of loony, which, for the record, Patrick Stewart does it fantastic. He's an absolute blast in this movie. So Logan, the Wolverine, is just trying to keep them alive, and he's having to make money so that he can buy the medicine that Professor X needs to keep him from, blowing up the world for the most part. So, as he's working as a limo driver, which is fantastic because it's Wolverine. This is like the last thing you'd expect of him. So he's doing that as for a living now, and he's just taking people around in his limo. It's just great to see. But during one of his trips, he gets a call for two passengers. One of them being a Mexican lady and a small child. And I'll go ahead and skip through some of the boring exposition. And essentially, the woman dies because people are hunting down the child because she is a mutant. Which Professor X is freaking out over because mutants aren't supposed to be born anymore. They're going to be dying out. So how is there a kid who's a mutant? Now, as the bad guys try and find the girl who's with Wolverine, Professor X, crap, I lost my train of thought there. They try and make a run for it, and they find out that the kid, who, by the way, doesn't speak, actually has claws like Wolverine. So it's basically mini girl Wolverine. Woo! She even has foot claws, which is weird, but cool. It's cool. And from what I've heard, that's actually in the comics too, so that's nice. So they're going on the run, and they're trying to get her to because since Logan is a fair driver, and because he's the Wolverine, that's why the woman wanted him in particular to take her, and she wanted him to take the girl to a place called Eden, which is supposed to be in North Dakota. And they're and Professor X is pretty much like pressuring Logan to do it, even though he doesn't really want to, because, you know, he's Wolverine. So they go on a road trip pretty much, and I don't want to spoil the rest of the movie, but I'll just say hilarity ensues. People die. It's actually really freaking cool. Because, like, okay, there's a lot of emotional character kind of stuff in this movie. When it's been called before it came out, a lot of people were thinking it was going to be The Last of Us, the movie. And it's not exactly, but it's close enough where you can see the similarities, you know? It's not like a carbon copy of The Last of Us, especially since there aren't zombies. But it is pretty similar. Now this this movie had a lot of character development for Professor X because of what he did in the past. A lot for Wolverine as he learns about this little girl mutant who has the same powers as him. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, Wolverine is getting old and he has disease, which I don't remember if they explicitly say it or not, but he has some sort of cancer. And his body is dying, which I think was brought on by the adamantium. That's why he got the cancer. But yeah, he's slowly dying because of it. And so his healing isn't working as well. His claws aren't able to retract, and he's slower, not as capable as he used to be in the other movies when he was younger. And he's really feeling the emotional toll of having all the people he cares about die. Because, as you might have noticed throughout the X-Men movies, that's what happens to everyone he cares about. They all die. Which is kind of his thing, pretty much. So it's kind of like a last sort of a journey for him. I'm not going to say how it ends, but I'm going to say that it is well worth the journey. This movie was great. As far as the best superhero movies, I don't think it was as good as Civil War. I don't think it was as good as Dark Knight. And I guess I'd say it's about on par with Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises, because I love both of those two, but they weren't quite as good as those two. I think I'd probably say it's better than Guardians of the Galaxy, maybe. A few other ones. It had a lot of emotional draw to it. And the thing is, none of the plot is something that you really can't predict. But it's the kind of movie where, even if you're told what happens, if someone spoiled for you what happens throughout the movie, it's not going to impact it, you know? Like, it's not about the story for this movie. Although the story is decent, but it's kind of ridiculous like how all the X-Men movies are. It's fun, I guess. Just, it's all about seeing it actually happen. Seeing the character, seeing the acting, seeing the emotional development. That's what's great about this movie. It's definitely worth seeing. I'd highly recommend it. It's a great movie. It's one I'm going to buy for myself and love it for a long time. Watch it for many years, of course. Along with my other favorite movies. Woo! And yeah, I do think it might just be the best X-Men movie. First Class and Days of Future Past come close. They were both great. X2 was good, but Logan was like head above shoulders the best X-Men movie. Definitely worth seeing. So yeah, I guess I'll end with that. See you guys in a later video. Bye.